Hi, welcome back to Bike Speeds. This week I'm going to give you a tour of the Dream Bike Workshop. I'm going to tell you the story of how we almost got scammed out of thousands of pounds when we first ordered the units. I'm going to show you inside some of these cupboards and drawers, talk you through our tool collection, what really works, show you some of my favourite tools, tell you about some of the mistakes we made when we put this unit in, show you also the lighting, and generally talk you through the workshop setup. So let's get started. So let's talk about these cabinets and how I got scammed when I first bought these. Initially, we saw online a company selling cabinets like these. They had lovely profile pictures and a nice website, and we placed an order for them. But after a few weeks, when they were promised for a couple of weeks, we realized that there was a delay. So we were happy to wait for that delay. I spoke to the owner of that company. Everything seemed legitimate and everything seemed okay. But that delay went from days to weeks to months, with a few phone calls backwards and forwards, a lot of emails, and I quickly began to realise that this may never materialise. Eventually I managed to speak to the owner and I threatened him with Trading Standards, which is a UK group here that helps people with purchases and problems, and I also threatened him actually with the police and banks getting involved and things, and I could not get my money back out of this company. And then lo and behold, overnight, the website went down, the phone lines went dead, and the company disappeared. Thankfully for me, we have protection when we pay on a credit card. That means we can get our money back, and I had paid on a credit card, and after many months and a long delay, we managed to get our money back, but it wasn't from that original company, it was from the credit card provider. So a little bit of a lesson learned there, that even in business we can all make mistakes, but if you pay on a credit card, you do get some protection there. So I was very fortunate with that original purchase that we got the money back. So moving forwards, we then ordered these lovely cabinets from a company called Craftworks. They had a UK distributor, I think they're Swiss based, lovely cabinets, but there were a few alterations to the designs that they had in stock that I made, so we had to wait again, a little bit of a delay. We're very pleased with these. We've been working on these now for a couple of years. There's nothing I would change in these cabinets. They're absolutely perfect. So let's show you through them and talk you through a few of our tools and changes that we made at that time and show you what we've done. So one of the lovely things about cabinets like this is the amount of drawers that you get. All the drawers here have tools in them. I have tools set up like this where we've got, say, our plier collection here. They all have rubber mats in the bottom of them to hold the tools, and they're all on rollers and rolling out lovely. And then I've got slightly larger drawers like this one, which has an abundance of spares that I use during a normal service. So I'll be diving in and out of this drawer regularly throughout a service, cable ends and everything else in there. Nuts and bolts in drawers below that. The drawer at the bottom of this one, I also have full brake bleeding kits and everything in there that I use. So they're all set up for parts of the service along the way. So this is our double cupboard here that we have our cleaners and lubricants in. So we have a lot of cleaning products on the top here. Our Autoglym polish, ceramic spray, various lubricants and cleaners, that goes quite deep there. And then on the bottom shelf there, I have all of our greases and special lubricants section here. So we have things like the oil there for suspension forks, we have special spoke freezes, special hub greases in there, various things, tyre sealant. But the main thing about this is most of the lubricants in here in the small little containers are specialist lubricants for specialist jobs that I've invested in over the years, so that we have the right lubricant for the right component and job that we're working on there. And then of course on the top of this cabinet we also have the Bike Speeds grease selection, which we use daily, and that moves around with us wherever we're working. So this will be used in every single service that we do, and then we move to the cupboard for anything more specialist that we may need along the way. So a lot of people ask us about the torque wrenches that we use in the videos. We use these three here. We use a 1/4" drive for most of the smaller bolts that we use, and this is a snap-on torque wrench that we use for that. Then the next one up is the 3/8 drive, which is this one. Again, this is a snap-on torque wrench, but the beauty of this one is it does left and right hand threads. So I use this one for pedals, bottom bracket bearings, things where there is a left-handed thread, and we can still torque it up with this one. And then we also use this one, which is the 1/2" drive, which is one that we generally leave set at 40 Newton meters, so that'll do cassettes and things of that nature. Then we have the matching wrench drives for initially tightening up the bolts, and obviously all the sockets to match. So perhaps the biggest disappointment in the workshop is this vise. This is a Hua 120mm vise. It's a forged steel vise, and I regret the day I brought this vise. It was very, very expensive. I wanted it to look nice with the new workshop, but I find there's an awful lot of movement in the jaws of this vise, and the teeth on the grippers themselves are very, very soft. The arm here doesn't line up when you fully close it. It just doesn't feel like a solid old-fashioned vise to me. I much preferred my old record vise that I had on the original workshop that we had. So big disappointment, that one, but it does for the time being. We also have on the bench our ultrasonic cleaner. This is a 6-litre ultrasonic cleaner. We've just changed the solution that we put in this. Our original solution we were using, they changed the formula and it didn't work as well. So unfortunately the new solution that I'm using comes in a massive container, 25 litres. So quite expensive for us to buy, but it's working quite nicely, so I'm happy with that now. We've also got this section here, which is the bin section and blue roll section. This was actually something that held up the delivery of this entire unit because this had to come from abroad. They didn't have this in stock. But we've got the nice flap here for the rubbish. Drops into the back and we can empty that bin out nice and easily. And then obviously we've got our blue roll holder here. Keeps everything in the workshop clean and tidy. The key to any workshop is the repair stand. You can get some very heavy duty commercial stands that are available that are on pillars. They're bolted to the floor, they're very solid. But for us that doesn't work because we're filming the YouTube videos as well as our daily work. This actually moves around according to the shot that we're doing to get the angle correct to the background. So we're actually moving this around forwards, backwards, left, right all the time when we're filming. And it also has 2 horizontal legs on this one. It's not a triangle based one with the 3 legs. This actually has 2 horizontal legs. So it's a nice sturdy stand. Park Tool do some great stands. And then alongside this, we also use one of the Park Tool straps here for holding the handlebars square to make sure that nothing's floating around and moving, and it all works together, combined very, very nicely. This is my Park Tool wheel truing stand. These take up an awful lot of room on a bench, and you need a lot of room around them when you're building wheels or truing wheels up. But what I've done is I've put it onto a bench grinder stand, which means I can move that around, and it's a very heavy stand, so it works really, really well for this application. I have my tools hanging off of a hook on it as well, so as my regular tools that I'm using day to day on this can hang nice and to hand, and everything about this works absolutely perfectly. Another useful tool in any workshop is a bench grinder. We have this lovely bench grinder here, which also has the polishing mop on it, so we need a bit of space around that. So we have that on the same stand as what we're using for the wheel truing equipment, but this one is bolted down to the ground to make it solid and secure. And then right by it we have the fire extinguishers, which we often move for the YouTube videos, but they're there for safety when we're using this. One of the really important things for any dream build workshop is your lighting. We have the hexagonal LED lighting above us, which gives a nice flicker-free lighting, which works with us for filming and obviously lights the area up absolutely beautifully and really presents the area nicely, not only for our videos, but also for our customers coming in the shop. One thing that's really useful in the workshop, and you've not seen it in any of the videos because we always make sure it's out of the shot that we're doing, is this little caddy. It's really, really useful for just moving around a bike, where I can have all my tools set up on it that I'm using on that bike. It also has a little tray here that I can put all the little nuts and bolts and things that I'm taking off of a bike onto, and then I can put the spares on the trays below the top one and keep everything together for that bike. So I've just pulled out a few of the interesting tools here that are bike related tools. So we have an abundance of various different hub tools here for removing free hubs and cassettes and various different things, some of which we may have literally ordered as a one-off to do one specific job, and we just hope that eventually we'll get that job in again to break even on the cost of the tool. But we have an abundance of those. This is just a few. We've even got more than this, but quite an array of different fittings there. Next up I have our tooling for plugging in Shimano Di2. So we've got various different cables, various different chargers, various different boxes and things for plugging those in. Always a fiddle to set those up, different thicknesses of cables. It's how things move on over time, but that enables us to plug them into the computer to make sure that everything's right and updated firmware and solving problems and things. This tub is for that. This is actually my favourite tool of all my tools. I get so much satisfaction out of putting this in. This is for barbs and olives on brake pipes, and for some reason I just really enjoy using this. It's an unbranded tool, as often they are, but it is absolutely perfect for the job, and yeah, I just get a lot of satisfaction out using that one. And then this was an absolute game changer for me. This is a Shimano quick link puller or plier, and I always had a job pulling the Shimano quick link together, but this tool enables me to do that, and it's just the actuation of it is perfect, and I can finally do up a Shimano quick link, so that's a lovely one for us. And then the other one which we often get asked about is various things that we use for bottom brackets. They're always in the comments, what tools do we use? Well, this is the press that I use for the majority of my bottom bracket work. This is a Wills Manufacturing press, so that's a really nice tool. And likewise, they also do a bottom bracket extractor tool, which I also use. So with this one, it has various fittings and various extractors for different size bottom brackets, so that's quite a nice tool. But again, talking about unbranded tools, the one that I use an awful lot, in fact I've got 2 sets of these, is a Chinese bottom bracket extractor that you'll often see me using on the videos. And this is a really nicely made extractor that goes together. It's got various different fittings, various different collars, various different size fittings for different bearings, and absolutely works a joy. So I have 2 sets of these, and I find that a great tool. So they're just a few of the really important tools that I use day to day, and the various different things about them. But we've literally got drawers full of specialist tools for specialist jobs. So I hope you've enjoyed this tour of our Dream Bike Workshop. Thank you very much for watching. It's because of YouTube that we created this space to make it easier for us to film the videos, and it's a very nice environment to work in, not only to film the videos but also the day-to-day work that we do here at Bike Speeds. So please do check out our website. I'll put the link in the description below. It's a great way of supporting the channel, but also like and subscribe, and we'll see you again very soon. Bye for now.